Hello and welcome to another in the 10-minute tip series of programs. This one is titled Unearned Cash Discounts. My name is Michael Dennis and I'll be your presenter today. By way of introduction, unearned cash discounts are a problem for credit departments, or more specifically, they're a problem for every credit department that offers cash discounts to encourage customers to pay invoices sooner. Unfortunately for us, enforcing a prompt payment discount policy can damage customer goodwill, so we have to be very careful about the way in which we enforce our early payment discount policy. And we have to have a policy that addresses how we're going to address customers that don't pay within the discount period but nevertheless take the deduction. We're going to talk about ways in which we can better manage cash discounts and better deal with unearned cash discounts. But having said that, recovering unearned cash discounts is never going to be easy. It's always going to be complex, it's always going to be labor intensive, and it always has the potential of damaging customer goodwill. In addition, enforcing prompt payment discount policies is time consuming, especially as it relates to having to charge back unearned cash discounts taken by customers. But the goal of this program is to examine how we can encourage customers to follow the policies and to comply with the discount terms so that they are not taking unearned cash discounts. Discounts. I think it's fair to say that cash discounts benefit both creditors and customers, both buyers and sellers. How come? Because both parties gain in this form or format. The customer gains, they benefit by the fact that they pay a lesser amount. They're offered a discount for early payment. And the seller benefits, the creditor company benefits, because they get their money sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, some customers take discounts whether or not they're actually earned. With this in mind, I think it's a serious mistake for any credit department to have a loose policy relating to the enforcement of terms of sale, and specifically a loose policy relating to charging back customers that take unearned cash discounts. If you fail to do so, if you fail to enforce your cash discount policy, what you're doing is you're making it more difficult for yourself in a couple of ways. But most basically, what you're making it difficult is to convince the customer to stop doing what they're doing, which is to say, stop taking unearned cash discounts. It's important to acknowledge that many creditor companies permit a grace period in which unearned cash discounts will not be charged back. And let me just illustrate that. Let's assume that you have a 10-day cash discount period. In other words, if customers pay their invoices within 10 days of the invoice date, they will receive a, let's just say, a 2% cash discount. So the payment terms might be, as an example, 2%, 10 days, and then the net payment would be due in, let's just say, 30. So 2%, 10 days, net 30. Despite the fact that the discount period is only 10 days, many companies permit a grace period of, again, between typically 2 and 5 days. So what that really means is that if the payment is received between +2 and +5, in other words, using our example, 12 days and 15 days, then the creditor company will nevertheless permit the cash discount. So if it's a 2% discount, using the 5-day grace period, they would accept payments up to 5 days beyond the discount due date and still allow the cash discount, still permit it without having to charge back the discount as an unearned cash discount. In my experience, there's really three types of unearned cash discounts. They typically fall into one of these three categories. You have occasionally and infrequently, I would add, type 1 unearned cash discounts. These are honest mistakes involving customers that don't routinely take unearned cash discounts, but occasionally do so. The second type is what I refer to as small dollar unearned cash discounts. There are customers around who understand that a creditor company is unlikely to charge back a relatively small unearned cash discount. For example, on a $1,000 invoice with a 2% cash discount, we're talking about a $20 cash discount. There are not many companies that I'm aware of that are going to actively pursue a $20 unearned cash discount. There are a lot of companies that simply will not even bother to charge back a $20 unearned cash discount. And imagine, if you would, an even lower number. Let's say it's a $100 invoice, and now we're talking about a 2% cash discount representing $2. And I think it's fairly obvious that the time, energy, and effort required to charge back a $2 unearned cash discount would be more than offset by the idea that we'd be better off just to write off the discount than to spend the time and energy to charge it back. And a lot of customers know that, and that results in a scenario in which some customers largely are indifferent to the rules. They rationalize it in whatever way they do so, but they feel that it's irrelevant whether or not the discount is earned, and they play a numbers game. They play a game that says it's unlikely that creditors are going to charge back unearned cash discounts. It's unlikely that they are going to force us to repay those discounts, and as a consequence, we are virtually immune to the rules that say the discount can only be taken if payments are received within, using our example, within 10 days of the invoice date. And the problem for us, and I think as we acknowledge this to anybody who's done this for a long time or any period of time significantly, there is this problem. The problem is that individual invoices generally have relatively small unearned cash discounts. The thing to remember, though, is even if you have a $2 cash discount and a $2 unearned cash discount, I should say, $2 in and of itself is insignificant. If you have 100 invoices and each one of them has a $2 unearned cash discount, now you have $200 in unearned cash discounts. And cumulatively, that can be a serious number, and cumulatively, that can be a serious problem. So what do we do? How do we fix this? How do we address it? Well, the first thing I would say is there is no single simple answer. It requires effort, it requires energy, it requires time, it requires money. But the first step is we have to have a policy in place. We have to have a policy specifically that addresses cash discounts, discount policies, what is and what is not an unearned cash discount, and what we do when a customer takes an unearned cash discount. Do we in fact charge it back? And if we charge it back, what steps do we take to collect the unearned cash discount? Because charging it back is a lot of work, and there's no reason to do that work if there's not a policy and a process and a procedure in place that goes about the process of collecting the unearned cash discount. One of the things I would say in this policy is you have to make sure that you are consistent in the way that you handle unearned cash discounts, because inconsistency, quite honestly, encourages even greater abuse. More specifically, if you have a hit and miss process in connection with unearned cash discounts, customers are eventually going to become aware that this is not something that you're managing carefully and rigorously. It's a hit and miss as to whether or not you are going to accept and allow, as opposed to reject and reverse unearned cash discounts. The other problem with inconsistency is that it encourages even more flagrant abuse of your cash discount policy. So there are going to be a certain number of customers, or a certain percent of customers, that are going to be emboldened by the fact that your company doesn't consistently charge back unearned cash discounts. And so to the extent that they might be emboldened to take a discount after, 15 days, which is in fact unearned under a 10-day cash discount period policy, they're going to keep going. Some certain percent of your customers are going to start at 15, and then they're going to go to 20, and they're still going to take the unearned discount. And then they're going to go to 25, and they're still going to take the unearned cash discount. And eventually, they will treat the unearned cash discount as simply a price reduction, instead of what it is, a mechanism, a vehicle, a tool that encourages your customers to pay invoices very, very quickly in exchange for a sizable incentive for them to do so in the form of the cash discount that you offer. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope you found this 10-minute tips program to be interesting, useful, and helpful. Have a great day.